Alright, we are live. Nobody's here yet, so I'm gonna just wait a few minutes and wait until I can see that someone's watching, and then I'll get started. Okay, one person's here. Yay. Welcome. This is the Inside Archaeology channel, if you're new. And my name is Rachel. I'm an archaeologist. And my love for and career in archaeology was really partially inspired and started by playing this game as a child. So I'm playing through the levels while also talking about the real life locations and the time periods that we go through in these levels. And so we're basically just working our way through Egypt's history, kind of one level, one king at a time. Although some of them do span multiple levels. I do these before the premieres of all my videos on my YouTube channel, and you're gonna, if you stay for the whole 2 hours, well done. After that, the premiere is going to be Archaeology News November 2023. And the video is about a half hour long, and it's going to feature a guest interview about one of the discoveries that we featured, which was pretty cool. So during each, if you're new, during each stream, I have several pre-recorded segments that talk about the dynasty, the king, the site, and other aspects of Egyptian history that are relevant or related to whatever level we're playing. So I broadcast them while I actually play the game, because if I don't do that, I do a horrible job playing it, because I can't just multitask like that. After each segment, I answer questions and I speak with the chat if anybody has any questions for me. And so I try to finish the levels in one stream. I'm not always successful. Always happy to take questions, even if I can't necessarily answer them. Please, if you are here, keep the chat respectful, because we try to have fun. And I'm not here to debate with people about the veracity of ancient alien theories, although that might be a topic that we're going to cover today. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can watch every stream and video. And if you like this stream, before you head off, please don't forget to like it as well. And anything that you can do to help me out with the algorithm is appreciated. So last stream, we built the Red Pyramid for Snofru at North Dashur. And now for our next mission, we have a choice between quarrying limestone and building more mastabas at a place called On, also known as Heliopolis, or we can defend our borders with a navy against the Kushites at Ayanet. So how I kind of like to do things is I let you guys choose which level we're going to play. I'm going to put a poll into the chat. So in just a second, I've also put a poll on my Instagram just to kind of get a few more answers for it, just to make sure that everything's as fair as possible. On, as I said, is going to be a peaceful building level, and then Ayanet is our military level. Both of them have some really interesting archaeological backgrounds going on with them, but I will say that the Ayanet level has stuff to do with ancient aliens that we're going to debunk. So I'm totally not biased at all. I'm going to start the poll now, and then I'm going to also start the level. And, well, we'll play the end of our last level. Proceed. Look at me. I've already got on to the next one. Whoop-de-doo.
You have
See,
played an integral role in a
just so good.
landmark moment, the construction of the first true pyramid. With the completion of Snofru's pyramid, you have set the standard of pyramid building that all others will follow.
Well, I'm just that good, guys. So, as I said, I'm going to just leave it on the menu here. So, we can either go on Heliopolis or Ionet/Dendera, a threat from Kush. You guys pick. It's all up to you. I can see that we have a few people on the stream. I know I usually, if you're somebody that's usually here on a Friday night when I do my regular premieres, my apologies for not having it on Friday this week. I basically woke up ill. I've been giving myself a pretty serious case of Christmas crunch with all of the stuff that I have to do before Christmas, and I think my body was just like, you are gonna take a break today. So I just couldn't, I wasn't up to doing the stream. I had a bunch of stuff that I still had to do as well to prepare for the stream. That's fine though. It's given me enough time to make sure that everything's good for today. So the segments I'm going to cover today while we're all deciding are one on King Khufu or Khufu. I call him Khufu, even though it's definitely not the right pronunciation. Also on or Heliopolis. Either of those, I have a segment prepared. And then our last segment for today is going to be Senate, which is the like ancient Egyptian board games, and is a new, I guess, mechanic or game thing that's going to get introduced in this level, because I've totally not looked some of this up in advance to prepare. The Khufu segment is particularly long, and the segments themselves are between 5 to 10 minutes, so they're not too long. Most of my time is spent chatting with you guys. I also apologize for any sniffling that I'm still doing, because I am still getting over my cold. I have my Kleenex and some water ready, and I will try to mute my microphone so you don't have to listen to me sniveling all over the place. So, my best friend is messaging me. 1 second. Let's also just check in on Instagram. So, what's the verdict? What's the verdict on my poll? 50-50. It's 50-50 on Instagram right now between On and Ionet. And our current vote is for Heliopolis. So I guess that's what we're going to have to go with, guys. We're going to do some quarries. I'm going to call it now. Which is fine, but disappointing, because Dendera has the Dendera light bulb. And I was going to go on a big rant about that, but I guess I'll just have to save that for when I play that level in a different stream, possibly in a membership stream, which in the new year. So, all right, we're going to go for On. I'm going to play the mission briefing, and then we'll take a look at the map and some of the new stuff that we have included in it, and then I'm going to start building and play the first segment for you.
Pharaoh Khufu has taken the throne, and, as foretold by seers of Horus and Ra, our people have already begun to suffer under his oppression. It is rumored that he plans to begin a colossal building project on the plateau outside Rosja, that he may usurp the renown his father, the wise and benevolent Snofru, has earned from the completion of his 2 noble pyramids.
3.
Pharaoh
He actually has
Khufu
3.
has ordered a cluster of quarries to be dug at Tura in the Delta region, where rich deposits of fine white limestone have recently been discovered. You also must build 3 mastaba tombs for the nobles of this region, so that Pharaoh may honor their devotion. The quarrying settlement you found shall be named On, and shall serve as a plentiful source of fine white limestone for many years, though only the gods know what endeavor Pharaoh has planned for its use. The city of Byblos in Lebanon, land of the Cedars, has begun trading with the powerful empires of the East. These are Assyria and Ur, in the land called Mesopotamia, between the 2 great rivers, and from them the finest ivory may be obtained by a Byblos. With the arrival of rare and exotic luxury goods such as this, On is sure to prosper. Khufu has also dispatched a royal governor to Ionet to defend our land against Kushite invaders. royal viziers look with pity upon the governor charged with this difficult and dangerous task. In the capital, the Egyptian people have begun to enjoy a board game called Senate. This game is normally enjoyed over a pitcher of beer in a public gathering place called a Senate House. Such places may provide a welcome diversion for the people of Om from the tyranny of Khufu's authority.
All right, let's dig into this level. So looking up in the top, we've got a bunch of islands. Well, we're in the Delta region, so this geography makes sense. We've got this. I wonder if this is supposed to be used for our quarries, this area. We also have some reeds over here and some birds, which means we'll have to do some hunting, and we will have papyrus as a industry. Let's look at our raw materials. Clay pit, limestone, sandstone, reed gatherer. So these are, I suspect sandstone and reed are going to be our two main exports. We've got a potter, brewery, and we've got grain and flax. So that's good, because that means that if we can grow flax, we can sell linen. And we also have our Senate house here, which is a nice, basically I guess it's like a ancient Egyptian pub. Although Senate, from what I saw, it was played pretty much anywhere, and you didn't have a specific Senate house. I think that's something that they kind of just put together for the game. Also, something interesting about this level is that I can't get directly from the roadside where all of my sellers are coming from to the main middle island. We've also got some hippos here, which we have to watch out for, because these guys, they eat people. So we're going to have to go from one island to this northern one and then down again. So that's going to be fun. I also just realized that my that the mission briefing here has basically melded to can't use that fairy thing. Has melded two different places. So they've basically put together Heliopolis and Tura. So, as they said in the briefing, this is more intended to be the quarrying level, but I've prepared a level on a segment on Heliopolis, so we'll kind of do a little bit. Well, we're going to play the segment on Heliopolis, and then I'll talk a little bit about Tura as well. Has anybody in the chat let me know if you've heard of Tura limestone? Because to my knowledge, it's pretty famous limestone. Like, I've heard, like, the name Tura is not an unknown for me. But I don't know if I'm just an outlier, I guess. Right, so I'm going to start with putting a nice big neighborhood in the middle here, although I probably have made it too tall for services. And we'll go with our 6 grid inside system, because that means I can just put lots of temples. Our temple complex here is to Ra, so that is appropriate because, as I said, the Heliopolis, well, I haven't said this yet, but Heliopolis is the traditionally the city of the sun. That's why it's called that. That's the Greek name for it. And that's because it's where Ra's main cult is. So that's where he likes to hang out. That's his favorite spot. Okay, I'm gonna leave myself some room for some pavilions at the corners here. And we're gonna go firehouse, architect's post, police station. Can't forget those guys. Hi Frankenstein, welcome to the chat. Put my water there. Also, really key for these delta levels is a physician right away, because if you don't put a physician in because it's the delta, all of a sudden, like, everybody gets sick. Which I guess is kind of appropriate considering how well I have a cold today. Alright, we're gonna put a work camp in and a granary. Actually, I'm gonna move this physician so that my bazaar can be like right across from the granary. And I'm gonna put in some farms. 2, 3, 4. And then we'll have some flax as well. And 2. And there we go. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Alright, so while these guys get up and running, let's also just put our temples in, because I don't like when the gods get mad at me because people can't worship them because there aren't enough temples. Alrighty, that's good enough for me. I'm also going to start my quarry town. So we'll have that. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I think so. Also, let's just have a brief look at the mission briefing. 4,000. So I'm going to have like a hefty population here. I'm also, this key area over along here is also going to be for my dock when I'm going to have to start trading with people. So we're going to have this. And I'll do roadblock there. 2. Put some houses along here. And just kind of jumpstart my population, so to speak. I'm deliberately kind of leaving this area blank because I think I might put a pavilion here to offset the fact that I'm going to have a bunch of quarries there, so it's going to really bring down the desirability of that neighborhood. Alright, police station, and then we've got a water supply. Oh, cattle ranch. That's interesting. So that means that we are going to be able to have another food source, which is always ideal. Raw and fast. Perfect. Oswan granite, but not Tura limestone. But now I have heard of it from you. Well, I'm glad you could learn something useful today, Frankenstein. Yeah, I've heard of Tura limestone many, many times, but I guess that just comes from being an archaeologist, I think. Alright, I'm also going to have this up here, because this is where my dock and some of my storage yards are going to end up. Also going to put a storage yard. Oh crap, oh, I almost forgot. A firehouse and an architect's post here. Alright, this guy is only going to take half a thing of straw and then flax. Because then if I have straw, that means that I can have a cattle ranch. So that's, again, meat, another form of food which will later help me level up my housing units. I'm eventually going to have to settle this island with a small population as well, and up here, because then I'll be able to ferry goods between different towns, or sorry, between my two kind of sides of town. So I'm going to start off with a bunch of quarries here, and I want to try and get this road all in one line so that basically this game doesn't like when you have crossroads. So the more crossroads you have, the more opportunities you have for these guys to miss workers. Oh, and I need lots of employees, so I'm going to just speed things up a bit. Alright, I'm going to, while I kind of set up my base town, I'm going to play my first segment for you guys, which is all about King Khufu, or Khufu, who's our king for this level. So I'm just going to set that up, and I'm going to mute my mic while I do that.
As the mission briefing tells us, our king for this level is Khufu, successor of Snofru, called Cheops by the Greeks. This segment is going to cover his life except for talking about the Great Pyramid, because I'm saving that tangent for the next level where we're actually going to build the monument. He is the second king of the 4th dynasty, and his full name was Khnum Khufu, which means Khnum, protect me. This might point to an increase in the popularity and religious importance of Khnum, the god of creation and pottery. While we say his name as Khufu, or Khufu is how I say it, at the time of his reign, it probably was pronounced differently, but I'm not going to butcher it for you guys today. His Horus name was Mejedu, which means who has been adhered to / followed. His Nebti name is Medjeder, meaning who has adhered to the two ladies, and his golden Horus name was Bikku Nebu, which means the golden double falcon. King Snofru was probably his father, and Queen Hetepheres is his mother. Meretrites the first was his first wife, and Hanutsen was his second wife. He had at least 14 children. Everything known about Khufu comes from inscriptions at Giza and later documents from after his reign. Most of these documents that mention him were written by Greek and Egyptian historians long after his reign, and they present conflicting views of him and his reign. While the king enjoyed a long-lasting cultural heritage preservation during the period of the Old Kingdom and New Kingdom, later historians present a very negative depiction of his character. It is unclear how long exactly he ruled over Egypt. The Royal Canon of Turin Papyri, written during the 19th dynasty, says he ruled for 23 years. Greek historian Herodotus says 50 years, and the priest Manetho credits him with 63 years. All these sources were written between 1,000 and 2,000 years after his death, and are now considered an exaggeration or misinterpretation. Archaeological evidence suggests that he was approaching his 30-year jubilee, but died just before it. At the Dakhla Oasis, his Serach name is carved in a rock inscription that reads, Mefat traveling in the year after the 13th cattle count under Hor Mejedu. Several papyrus fragments, known as the Diary of Merer, found at the harbor of Wadi al-Jarf at the Red Sea, record the transport of limestone blocks from Tura to the Great Pyramid of Giza in the year after the 13th cattle count under Hor Mejedu. Egyptologists believe this Old Kingdom accounting for taxation took place every 2 years, so this would be Khufu's regnal year 26/27. In 2016, a Japanese team published another date, the 14th census month 1 of the harvest season called Shemu. They found 4 examples of this graffito in 2 rock-cut pits along the south side of the Great Pyramid. A regular biennial cattle count would make this Khufu's regnal year 28 to 29. So it seems that 30 is kind of roughly the number that we can most confidently ascribe for how long he ruled over the country. Besides his giant Mojo Dojo Casa house / burial monument, there are only a few hints about Khufu's political activities within and outside Egypt. Within his kingdom, his name appears in inscriptions at El Kab and Elephantine, and in the local quarries at Hatnub and Wadi Hamamat. At Saqqara, 2 terracotta figures of the goddess Bastet were found in which had his Horus name carved into their bases. In the Sinai, a rock inscription depicts him with the double crown. He sent several expeditions there in an attempt to find turquoise and copper mines. Khufu also entertained contacts with Byblos in Lebanon, sending several expeditions to Byblos in attempt to trade for copper tools and weapons for precious cedar wood. This kind of wood was essential for building large and stable funerary boats, and the boats discovered at the Great Pyramid were made of it. The most complete 3-dimensional depiction of Khufu that has survived is a small ivory figurine known as the Khufu statuette. It shows the king with the red crown of Lower Egypt seated on a throne with a short backrest. At the left side of his knees, the Horus name Mejedu is written, and at the right side, a fragment of the lower part of the cartouche name Khnum Khuf is visible. He holds a flail in his left hand. The artifact was found in 1903 by Flinders Petrie near Abydos. Today, the little statue is on display in the Egyptian Museum of Cairo. Most Egyptologists believe that the statuette is contemporary, but some, such as Zahi Hawass, think that it was an artistic reproduction of the 26th dynasty. It is often said that the small figurine is the only preserved statue of Khufu, but this is not quite correct. Excavations at Saqqara in 2001 and 2003 revealed a pair of terracotta statues depicting a lion goddess, At her feet, two figures of childlike kings are preserved. The right one can be identified as Khufu by the inclusion of his Horus name. Furthermore, several alabaster and travertine fragments of seated statues were found during excavations at Giza and were once inscribed with Khufu's full royal titulary. The Palermo stone reports on the creation of two oversized standing statues for the king, one of copper, the other of pure gold. Unfortunately, these have not been found, as they were probably either stolen or melted down and recycled in antiquity. Now we come to the question of how did his subjects view him before and after his death. Khufu possessed an extensive mortuary cult in the Old Kingdom. At the end of the 6th dynasty, at least 67 mortuary priests and 6 independent high officials serving at his necropolis are archaeologically attested. The literary masterpiece papyrus Westcar from the 13th dynasty talks about Khufu witnessing a magical wonder and receiving a prophecy from a magician called Dedi. Within the story, Khufu is characterized in a contradictory way. On one hand, he is depicted as ruthless when he decides to have a condemned prisoner decapitated to test Dedi's powers, but on the other hand, he is also shown as inquisitive, reasonable, and generous. He accepts Dedi's outrage, and his subsequent alternative offer for the prisoner questions the circumstances and contents of Dedi's prophecy and rewards the magician generously after all. This depiction of Khufu is the subject of great dispute between Egyptologists and historians to this day. During the New Kingdom, the necropolis of Khufu and the local mortuary cults were reorganized, and Giza became an important economic and cultic destination. During the late period, huge numbers of scarabs with the name Khufu were sold to citizens, possibly as some kind of lucky charm, and more than 30 of these have been preserved in the archaeological record. The Greek historian Herodotus, writing nearly 2,000 years after Khufu's death, depicts him as a heretic and cruel tyrant. Diodorus of Sicily, writing 2,500 years after Khufu's reign, says he was so abhorred by his own people in later times that the mortuary priests secretly brought the royal sarcophagus, together with the corpse of Khufu, to another hidden grave. This strengthens and confirms the view of the Greek scholars that Khufu's pyramid must have been the result of slavery, leading to the rise of this popular misconception. This is in direct contrast to how he is remembered in Egyptian traditions. When looking at these Greek records, we need to be aware of the fact that they are written by foreign visitors, aren't contemporary, and were written well after any kind of living memory of Khufu would have disappeared. Their sources are often unnamed and thus unverifiable, and the Greeks in particular also had quite low opinions of kings. These historians seem to have shaped the messaging of our mission briefing. None of the research that I did found mention of prophecies of people suffering under his oppression. And in fact, I think this is quite interesting because in our last stream, I spoke about how Snofru actually moved the most like brick, mortar, and stone by having built 3 pyramids, not to mention the fact that we know that he had military campaigns whose purpose was to enslave laborers for supplementing his workforce. So really, I think if we were to look at this, Snofru was probably a quote-unquote crueler and worse king than his son in terms of what he kind of inflicted on people and the amount of work that he got out of his subjects to build his monuments. Ayunat was an ancient Egyptian town which is known for containing the Dendera temple complex. On is a city more famously known by its...
Okay, that's the end of our first segment. We got a little bit of a preview of the other segment there. And yeah, while we were watching, I've just been plugging away, went to debt, got bailed out once, probably not going to happen again, but it's fine. I'm not that worried about it. Let's see if I can start. I need to open trade routes to export. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments about what we just heard below. I'm more than happy to answer or attempt to answer any questions that you might have. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting when I was like reading about Snofru and Khufu that they were talking about how you know, he gets like a really bad rap because he was really cruel and he made people do all of these things and blah 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 blah. But actually, like Snofru definitely asked for a lot more out of his citizens, and you know, as I said, the mission briefing says 2 pyramids because this game is probably about 20 years old. So at the time that it was written, they probably at that time would have said that he only had 2 pyramids, but I suspect since then they've come to the consensus that the Meidum pyramid also belongs to him, which is why we have this kind of mix up, I guess. Have I gotten a message? Oh, I need employees. Well, we'll get there. Build some more houses soon. I gotta do a mastaba as well. I think I have to do several mastabas, so let's just have them out here. Make sure that this has a road here, and then we can make sure that we put in a few more of those. So I've got my kind of brick complex going on over here where I'm going to make bricks for my pyramid, for my mastabas, I guess. And then, how many of those do I have to make? 3. Alright, well, that's doable. I don't know if I can do them all on the same map, but, sorry, on the same island. And I'm selling away my limestone. I think what I need, Town Palace is 1,000 things. So what I need to do is have my weavers make some linen, and then I'm going to export that. 200. Righty-ho. Okay. Then I've got my thing over here. Really, I need to eventually get across and start making some papyrus. Whew. Yeah, so like that bit about Khufu took me like ages to record because when I record these segments, I do them underneath a duvet. I either sit on the floor or I do it in bed because that's like really good soundproofing for with a microphone. And every single time I do that, my cat is like really, really perplexed by this like weird duvet mountain that has just shown up, and so then she like immediately starts jumping on it, and so she like jumps on my head or she tries to get inside of it, and then she's like meowing. But of course, if I let her get like inside with me, she doesn't just want to settle down. She just like every time I start trying to record, she's like, you're being too loud, and I'm trying to sleep, and then she like gets up and moves. Ah. Oh, well, that makes sense. Oops. Alright, I'll put an architect's post here, and then I'll replace that granary eventually. I don't think I have enough money to do that now. I'm in debt! Come on, buy some linen. Damn it. Alright, I gotta give a gift to my city. Just tide them over for a little bit. How was everybody's week? Let me know in the chat. Are you guys all ready for the holiday season? I am not. I am still working. Basically right now, every spare moment I have is spent working on a gift for my best friend. I don't think she watches the stream. I would be very surprised if she has the time to watch the stream. But even so, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You'll have to just follow me on Instagram because I'm sure I'll post about it there on once I've given it to her. Yes. Does anybody have any questions? I presume Joaquim is not joined us yet today, because as soon as he joins, he always has about like 6 questions for me, and I'm always like, oh crap, I need to like look up all this extra stuff. Not in like a bad way, but I'm just like, oh yeah, I need to look up this, I need to look up that. I did kind of look at, because as I said in the beginning, we have these like Senate houses that are a new thing for us now, that we can build. and to me, they just look like they're bars. Everything I read about Senate said that it was played kind of, you know, everywhere. As we will find out, people like would carve their own game boards, like even into the ground if they wanted to watch it. Sorry, if they wanted to play. So it's not something that's just limited to like a Senate house, but I just kind of think they probably introduced that as like a new entertainment center as a way to like level up the game a little bit. Okay, I finally sold some linen. Things are gonna start turning up, Rachel. It's interesting that they have me quarrying sandstone, but I don't have a monument to use it for, and I currently don't have a trading partner for it, which leads me to believe that eventually Pharaoh, or the king, is going to ask me for it. I also, I need to feed the people that live over here somehow. So I think that's going to be by importing some kind of food once I have enough money. Give me grain. Oh, well, I can't because, yeah, that's not an option. So that means that I'm just going to have to do lots and lots of straw. Grain. Lots of grain. All right. My mastaba over here has also risen up a bit, so we're going to do some bricklayers with a firehouse and an architect's post. Great. And I'll also put in a few houses here. When I first started playing this game as a kid, I didn't know that you could have just more than one dock. And so I would only have one dock for my city each time. Did not work out very well for me. Right, that means I have to stop exporting limestone. So I got a request from Pharaoh for limestone. Do we even have a plain stone quarry? No, I don't. Alright. That's fine. I can't even make this is the thing that's annoying about this level, is I'm gonna have to do a ferry from here to this island to here just to get access to the reeds and the birds. I can import Pyrus, but I cannot export it yet because I don't have that trade partner. I need to wait. A little bit, but that's fine. Yeah, I know. I don't collect most of my taxes, which I should be able to do, I know. Roadblock here. I'll have it there as a preemptive measure. And I'm also going to start making some pottery. 1, 2. Architect's post. I need my firehouse. Oop, it's not near a road. That would help if it was near a road. And then we've got a potter. We'll have our storage yard be here. Only accepts pottery. How did I run out of debits again? I don't understand. I guess that limestone was way more valuable to be exported than I thought, I guess. Frankenstein, my weekend every week for some time has been a Groundhog Day nightmare. I'm sorry to hear that, Frankenstein. I hope that you can have a little bit more fun watching the stream with us today, and that your week gets a little bit better. Ugh, malaria. Oh, the leveler of civilizations, malaria. Means also have to put apothecaries in. Right. This is what happens when you're in the Delta. Is everybody gets malaria. So annoying. Just put down an apothecary to avoid this event. Not cool, guys. Not cool. I think I need another weaver, but I kind of need more people. This is my problem, I think. Oh no, entertainment. Damn it. Okay. I'm gonna put in juggler school. We're gonna go for a booth, which I put the roadblock here, I can have here, and then all my houses can evolve and I can have more people move in. And then my employee problem can get solved. I can make more weavers, and then I can have more linen. Yeah, you're right, my popularity is high. Ugh, apparently I need game meat. This means I need to take my ferries over to the other side of the island. I suppose I have to spend money on that. And do another weaver first. Just keep running into debt. Houses in here. Yeah. 36. Righty-ho. Well, hopefully with 3 weavers and lots of flax, I can start expanding again. The thing that's annoying about this as well is that the ferries, if you want them to transport goods, they have to do so, like they have to have employees. So I have to populate this island. It's just really, I don't know, not super efficient. That's our 5, that's our 6. So we're gonna have just kind of all these like little satellite suburbs, so to speak. And then, yes, I know, I have run out. It's gonna take people ages to settle this bit of the area as well. Oh, that's useful. I can have a dock there. Actually, do this. And then that'll give me lots of stuff. Actually, what am I doing? It's just make a road. I'm too obsessed with making grid blocks. Apologies for the sniffle. Let's do a hunting lodge. You're gonna hunt all the birds you want, guys. Okay, it didn't take that as long to get settlers as I thought it would then. I'm gonna try and do some temples to the outside this time to try and conserve space. Actually, storage yard. I need the meat to go to a storage yard because it won't accept it if I only have it in a granary. So the granary is currently unemployed. Let's just delete that because then it doesn't suck up employees that I need to staff other industries. All right. It's a little bit quieter to stream on a Sunday night. I don't really know how I feel about it. I try, like, I want to try and do the streams at a time that's convenient for everyone, which obviously doesn't work for everyone, but I guess everyone is used to me doing them on a Friday. And obviously, I don't know, I just think that it works better for people on a Friday because, on a Sunday, because no one's going to theoretically be at work, but maybe other people are busy. Yeah. People are busy with other things on the weekend, clearly. Which is fine. That's fair enough. That is entirely valid. I just want to sell I just want to sell my sandstone. Alright, I have enough game meat for this. Right. Maybe I can export it? No. So, and also, let's see, 32. Almost. Alright, I'm gonna just spend the rest of my family money, bail my city out, and I'm gonna do our apothecary, our physician. Well, apparently this guy couldn't get any employees. Just stupid. Let's go for a few more of those. And then I'm gonna go for a reed gatherer and some papyri makers. I'm pretty sure, yeah, everyone's coming to me via a water route, so I don't need to worry about people having to get from one side of the map to the other, because if they were all land traders, then they would having to be using all the ferries. So yes, that saves me having to set up stuff. Actually, I'm just going to... Oh, great. My warehouse just went up in flames. That's great. Where's my storage yard? Right, you are going to take papyrus. Maybe a small amount of reeds. And I'll do a granary to feed these people. I'll do it over here. I'll do it in the spot I was going to. Fine. And then once we have some papyrus, we should be able to kickstart some industry. Get some money so that I can expand a little bit faster and quicker. Luckily, I don't need to import wood from for a carpenter's guild, although I think I have to do it for my mastabas, which is fine. While I have all this pottery hanging. Oh, I don't even need pottery. That's annoying. You need your area desirability to improve. Well, I need to be able to start charging you guys taxes. I need to put a town palace in here somewhere. I think it's going to end up there. Yeah. Or can I do it here? Yeah, I think that'll work a little bit better. But I don't have enough money for that yet. I do not want to go back into debt, so let's see how my papyrus industry is doing. Let's read a little bit. I've just pulled up the a page on Tura because I've not included it as a segment here. So I'm just going to kind of give you guys the cliff notes on Tura so that it's all included, basically. So it was a primary quarry site for limestone. Surprise, surprise. It was known to ancient Egyptians by the name either Troyu or Royu, and it's near Cairo and Helwan. So clearly what they've done here is they've mashed Tura and On into one level, which I actually kind of initially threw me off a bit because I was like, oh, did I not prepare the right stuff? But no, they call this Heliopolis if you have the Hellenized names on. So they've just kind of put those two sites together and they've kind of ignored the raw part and emphasized the quarrying part. So this site contained basically the best white limestone in Egyptian quarries, which famously is the finishing stone that was used on the outside of pyramids to make them nice and smooth-sided. But it was also not only used for pyramids, it was also used for tombs, floors and ceilings of mastabas, as we're building here, which were then otherwise made of mud brick. Yeah, it was the source of the limestone for the Bent Pyramid, which we've built, the Great Pyramid, and a lot of like sarcophagi, so like the coffins of people. Yeah. It was, the limestone itself was deep underground. Let's have a look at our quarries. They used open pit mining, which is, I suppose, what we're doing here. And they went quite deep underground to cut out the stones, leaving some behind to support caverns. So yeah, this is not so undergroundy, but I think this is probably quite accurate. Yeah. Apparently the caves themselves were used by British forces during World War II to store a variety of equipment and munitions. And it was decided in 1942 that they would serve better as a bomb-proof location for the repair of aircraft engines by the RAF. Interesting. Yeah. And they used this to do so until 1945. So yeah, pretty cool. I am glad that I didn't do an entire segment on that now because there's really not a lot to say. I think in our next stream, which is going to be our like end of year stream, probably either on the 30th or the 31st. I know I've probably said the 31st, but I actually am going to a New Year's party. So, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do a stream that day, and on the 30th, I think I'm probably going to be a little bit jet-lagged, but we'll see. Oh, I can start selling papyrus now, so that's good. Papyrus. Oh, I have to export it. Okay. Who buys this? Sakara and Dasher already have a trade route. Okay. This is going to put me in debt again. I don't like that. But I can at least export my reeds when I'm over a certain level as well. So now I've got lots of export happening. Oh, I can export this pottery. We'll go over 800 because that will hopefully balance out my budget for this city. Let's also look at 60 employees. Ooh, okay. It's not a lot. Put a few more here, a few more here. And then hopefully clay pits, they're always collapsing. It doesn't matter how many architects posts I put in. I could have one across the street and the clay pits would still collapse. Ridiculous. Okay. Oh, I gotta stop my poll, don't I? Oops. Aw, 4 people voted. That's so nice. I'm really excited for the premiere of the archaeology news. It's like this time it's like half hour long because I keep on I've now started doing this thing where I reach out to people because archaeologists love to talk about their discoveries. So a lot of the time, if you ask them for like a short interview on it, they will be more than willing to donate that time, as I have found. You just have to like find the correct people to ask. I actually was trying to interview the people who did the Karajartas pyramid in Kazakhstan. I was trying to interview them. And one person responded directing me to someone else, and then I never heard from that other person. So I don't have that interview for today as I had anticipated, but that's fine. Like I'll live. But we ended up with this interview with Franz Schopper, who is a German archaeologist working near Berlin, and he's going to tell us all about this royal hall that they found that's near a royal like grave that they found, and the grave of King Hintz. It's like the kind of popular colloquial name for this burial site, which has absolutely no like documentation or like historical veracity, I suppose is the right word there. King Hintz like wasn't a real person, and there's a lot of like local legends about him that aren't true, but still pretty cool to read about this royal Bronze Age hall that they found, and then to interview him and talk about it a little bit more, and again kind of get over this idea that archaeologists are secretive. We like to keep things from you. The problem is not the archaeologists talking about what they're doing. The problem is people giving them time to talk about it and or the space to talk about it in like press. And to be fair, some of that might be our own fault because we have a bit of ivory tower syndrome. We do like to, publish things and then be like, oh, I don't know why anybody's not interested in my site because, like, the average person doesn't read archaeological journals. But yeah. All right, I've got tons of... Okay, look at me. I've got lots and lots of money now. So that means I'm going to make my mansion... See, look at the hippos! The hippos, every once in a while, they go absolutely crazy and they just kill everybody, which is not dissimilar to what they do in real life. You might think, oh, going to Egypt, if I'm going near the Nile, I have to watch out for the crocodiles. Not so much, actually. Thing you have to watch out for is the hippos. They vicious. They gonna get you, and they're huge. But Ross and I, my husband Ross and I, when we went to Berlin recently. Hi Felix, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming along. The chat's a bit quiet today, but that's fine. If you have any questions that you want to ask me about this level or anything, feel free to put them below, and I will do my best to answer them if I can. Sweet. Oh, see, I knew that I put that storage spot at the right spot because that pharaohs just keep asking me for all of this game meat. Right, all right, yes, 2,000 people, sweet. All right, this now gives me time to put a granary in here so that I'm gonna put it put it here, and then you can have this, and we'll have a firehouse and an architect's post, and then all my extra grain could go here. Right, I'm getting a thing saying that you guys are going to get some ads, but there's only 3 of you here, and I feel bad, so I'm going to skip the ads this time because, yeah, I feel bad. So, look at my bustling city over here. It's doing pretty well. What do people need? Too little entertainment. Yeah, well, whatever. I want, actually, you know what, I'm going to end up making this pottery entertainment complex. So let's do our conservatory and our dance school here. And then I can do my pavilion here. Perfect. And then everybody's gonna have time to party. Oh, I need to put out a festival square. Yeah, the gods are gonna get really, really mad if I don't do a festival square. Let's actually check in. Yeah, see, they're displeased. That's because I don't have a festival square yet. Where's the best spot? Let's see. This is kind of like my main area. And this, I'm going to have more than one mastaba here, so I can't really do that. So it's going to end up being this spot. So let's just do it. I'm going to just do it right. No, if I don't put it near, I need to have access to architects. I'm going to put it here. And the hippos can enjoy a good party time. And it makes a good, I don't think I have to worry about damage. Yeah, this doesn't care about damage, so it can't, it'll be fine. Alright, let's do another weaver, because you can never have enough linen. Especially if your burial provisions need it, so. Cool. Alright, these guys are doing okay down here. Ew, the bazaar is doing bad. Whatever. Alright, we're at 8:30, which is an hour in. So I'm going to play for you, I'm going to take a little bit of a break now and play for you a segment. This segment is going to be on Heliopolis, the place that we're essentially playing. But more like the Heliopolis side of it, which is the city of Ra, and not the Tura limestone side. So, yes. Did I ever say that I'm going to cover quarrying when I'm going to do the Great Pyramid? I think I did. I meant to. Sorry for the sniffle. As I said, I'm not delirious, but a lot on my brain right now. So, let's mute. I'm going to mute my microphone, and then I'm going to play the segment for you, and then when that finishes, I'll be back. If you guys have any questions that you think of during the segment, please put them in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer them when I get back.
Greek name of Heliopolis, meaning City of the Sun. This naming comes from the fact that the city was the cult center of the Egyptian gods of the sun, Atum and Ra, who were later kind of like melded together to become Atum Ra. Its native name transfers to the pillars, but the exact pronunciation is uncertain, so we're going to just stick with On today, which is actually comes from the Coptic pronunciation of the ancient name. It is one of the oldest cities of ancient Egypt and was occupied since prehistoric times. It greatly expanded under the Old and Middle Kingdoms, but is today mostly destroyed, its temples and other buildings having been scavenged for the construction of medieval Cairo. Most information about the ancient city comes from surviving records. It was originally the cult center of the sun god Atum, who became identified with Ra and then Horus. The primary temple of the city was known as the Per-At, the Great House or House of Atum, which is also the word that eventually becomes the primary title used for kings, which we now know as Pharaoh. On's priest maintained that Atum or Ra was the first being, rising self-created from the primeval waters of creation. A decline in the importance of Ra's cult during the 5th dynasty led to the development of the Ennead, a grouping of 9 major Egyptian deities that placed the others in subordinate status to Ra Atum or Atum Ra. The high priests of Ra are not as well documented as those of other deities, although the remains of high priests of the 6th dynasty have been discovered and excavated. During the New Kingdom, its great Temple of Ra was second in size only to that of Amun at Karnak in Waset. During the Amarna period in the New Kingdom, Pharaoh Akhenaten produced a kind of hedonistic worship of the Aten, the deified solar disk. As part of his construction projects, he built a temple in Heliopolis named Elevating Aten, whose stones can still be seen in some of the gates of Cairo's medieval city wall. The cult of the sacred Nevis bull, another embodiment of the sun, had its altar in the city as well. The bull's formal burial ground was situated to the north of the city. Alexander the Great, on his march from Pelusium to Memphis, halted at On. The Temple of Ra was said to have been, to a special degree, a depository of royal records, and Herodotus states that the priests of On were the best informed in matters of history of all the Egyptians. The city flourished as a seat of learning during the early Greek period. However, the later Ptolemies seemed to have little interest in their quote-unquote father, Ra, and favored the cult of Osiris/Serapis. Alexandria eclipsed the learning of Heliopolis. As a result of the withdrawal of royal favor, On quickly dwindled. By the 1st century BCE, Strabo found the temples deserted and the town itself was almost uninhabited, although priests were still present there. In Roman Egypt, Heliopolis belonged to the province Augustominica. Its population probably contained a considerable Arabian element. Many of the city's obelisks were removed during this time to adorn other places, including the obelisk of Montecitorio, which can now be seen in Rome, and London's Cleopatra Needle and its twin Cleopatra Needle in New York's Central Park. During the Middle Ages, the growth of Fustat in Cairo, only a few kilometers away, caused the ruins of On to be massively scavenged for building materials, including for city walls. The site became known as the Eye of the Sun, Ain Shams, and Arab al-Hassin. The ancient city is currently located about 15 to 20 meters below the streets of middle and lower class suburbs in northern Cairo. Some ancient city walls of crude brick can be seen in the fields, and a few granite blocks bearing the name of Ramses II remain. The major surviving remnant is the obelisk of the Temple of Atum Ra, erected by Senusret I of the 12th dynasty, which is still standing in its original position. The 21-meter-high red granite obelisk weighs 120 tons and is believed to be the oldest surviving obelisk in the world. In terms of archaeological investigations, On hasn't seen nearly the same level of excavation as other prominent ancient Egyptian sites. Flinders Petrie spent a number of weeks excavating and sketching the ruins here in 1912. Egyptian archaeologist Abdel Aziz Salah documented a small corner of the site in the 1970s. This lack of investigation is due to several challenges, such as high costs, a complicated legal situation that made digging there prohibitive, and the fact that much of the ruins are submerged between 0 and 8 feet under the water table. This means excavations must be constantly pumped out with water and with the water put elsewhere, which is a logistical nightmare. Since the early 2000s, Egyptologist Dietrich Rau from the University of Leipzig has been involved in the occasional archaeological projects in the area. In 2005, he joined Egyptian colleagues excavating more than 3 acres of the ancient temple area ahead of a planned shopping center construction. Some of the first objects to emerge were fragments of inscribed statues that provided promising physical evidence of the city's importance. This included a life-size depiction of Ramses II dressed in priestly attire that illustrates not only On's religious significance, but also its political function as a place where generations of rulers reaffirmed their claims to power over all of Egypt. In 2012, Rao and Ayman Ashmawi, the head of the archaeological sector at the Ministry of Antiquities, began an ambitious joint program of rescue excavations in parts of the area threatened by illegal development, which is to say, almost the entire neighborhood. In 2015, a corner of the central temple precinct was excavated with wall foundations 3 feet thick, workshops, and evidence of butchery. North of the temple, Egyptian teams had previously found multi-story residential buildings, which might indicate that priests and thousands of support staff lived behind the city walls in extremely close quarters, packed into high-rise mud brick tenements not dissimilar to buildings that many people live in today. In 2017, an 8-ton fragment of a standing sculpture of late-period pharaoh Psamtik I was recovered from under more than 6 feet of groundwater. Other Heliopolis project digs have turned up workshops and small grain silos at the southeastern corner of the temple. Rough ceramic trays found near the silos suggest the existence of a bakery that served hungry priests, and a wooden scribal pallet bearing a New Year's inscription is evidence that the city's holy character was never far from its mind, even in its residential quarters. Geomorphological investigations have reconstructed the height of the primordial hill upon which the first temple was built. Archaeologists are just beginning to get a sense of the city of On/Heliopolis as a whole. However, the continuation of their work is under threat, as the city may soon be completely inaccessible, covered over by rapidly expanding housing projects and other construction in the booming Egyptian capital. There is a very interesting article with more detail available on Archaeology magazine's website, which I will link in the description in the references section for this stream. For our last segment today, we are talking about something which I feel like has...
Okay, that's our segment on Heliopolis/On. Frankenstein, can you imagine the disappointment loading a barge near Tura with giant blocks heading up Giza and something bad happens and blocks sink into the Nile? Yeah, that would suck. I don't think there's a lot of records of that, and to be fair, the Nile itself, I don't think is particularly like susceptible or anything to storms. I think a lot of the time, like it's unusual. Any changes to its water flow will be around the time of the flood, which, you know, they could predict pretty accurately. So I don't know if that was something that happened, and certainly, hopefully, it was not something that happened regularly. All right, let's put in our bazaar. I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna put a bazaar in so we can get some food for this part of my city, because I need prosperity, and part of that problem with that, not enough people have access to a dentist, and this will also help with employment. I don't know why I keep on like losing so many employees. Why have I got all this sandstone when nobody wants it? I do not understand. How's my mastaba doing? Not too bad. It's taken ages. Unsinkable. It's probably, yeah, like large barges. Unsinkable even by mean hippos. Yeah. Hippos are, yeah, they vicious. Ross and I went to the zoo, Berlin Zoo. I think that's where I was going with one of my tangents. And we saw hippos. And it's been a while since I've been to the zoo. I forgot how big they are. They were huge. And the poor things were in like this comparatively tiny tank. You can understand why they might be a bit upset. Okay, I've got enough money now that I think I can build a mansion to derive some income again. I'm gonna make a brickworks. These guys don't make bricks fast enough. I'm almost still at one mastodon. I'm like an hour in. Ugh. Huh? Alright, I think what I need to do as well is I need to make beer. So if I export beer, if I make an export beer, that will seriously increase my revenue. So let's go for storage yard. Throw this one here. You can accept barley, and you can accept beer. And my breweries are going to be 1, 2, 3. And let's import some barley. Two per thing. Bountiful flood. Sweet. Who doesn't like a bountiful flood? I love a bountiful flood. Works for me. Righty-ho. And we'll do plazas, 4th. I'm always really good at the satisfying Pharaoh's requests. The rest of it, I'm a bit... Right, 34. Lots and lots of grain. I'm also going to make sure that this guy can only fill up half. Fine. Oh, I should have put the breweries over here. We'll see how far I can get with this, and then I might have to rethink some of my city planning and stuff. Yeah, I know I need more people. Don't tell me what to do. Alright, culture, too few musicians. Fair enough. We'll also put juggler school and a conservatory along here, and then we can start putting in some expansions. Dance school, I'll put that here. Roadblock. And, ooh. Oh no. Pavilion. Huh. So I clearly need to... I think I need to move up here. What if I do that? Oh. Gotta get rid of these houses. I'll replace them with these ones. Oh, but I can't do that because then people don't have workers. Ah. Ah, no. I didn't mean to do that. And then up here, I'll do a juggler school as well. We'll put a booth in for these people, because you know, as the Romans, I mean, it's not an Egyptian saying, but the Romans like to say bread and circuses. That's how you keep people happy. So with all this grain, they have plenty of bread, and now they've got a bunch of entertainment. 3,000. Oh yeah, I'm on a roll, guys. Go me. Oh, we've got 3 people currently on the stream, which definitely, I think, means that I should not be doing streams on Sundays. And I have to do them on, keep them to Fridays from now on. Oh man, okay, so these guys have evolved to these modest apartments, which means that someone from the bazaar went all the way around to get beer, which is kind of crazy. Ooh, these people are going to need pottery, so I'm going to start a pottery section. Roadblock. Fine. We'll go for an architect's post. This. And for clay pit. I think only do one right now because these things clearly overproduce. So you're only going to accept pottery. Alright, first mastaba is done. Working on the second. And hopefully my bricklayers can, oh, I've got like no clay now that I've started exporting it, don't I? Okay, well, there. You know what? You know why Ra's displeased? Ra's displeased because I haven't done a temple complex to Ra yet. Because the map doesn't have space. I was actually really interested when I was researching about Heliopolis when they were talking about how like they've basically not been able to do like any like extensive archaeological research there because of its proximity to suburbs in Cairo where people just keep building houses there. I thought that was really kind of like crazy and I guess cool, but also kind of sad because especially when they were talking about how it was like the repository for ancient Egyptian knowledge about history. So like their own knowledge about their own history. Like I don't know if perhaps the temple of Ra was probably like abandoned and they took all the papyri away and probably just took it to the Library of Alexandria. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But it would be cool if there was like a repository or something like that of papyri or something that is still waiting to be found that's got all this ancient Egyptian history that would help us clear up stuff that we know about it. I think that would be really awesome. But yeah, it's probably if that did exist, considering the amount of expansion that's been going on there, let's be honest, guys, it probably doesn't exist anymore, which is really unfortunate. Right, I'm just really leveling up my housing now. Got lots of bricks waiting for my next mastaba. Bast is happy. She's happy, I'm happy. Alright, and now I've got to find out where I'm going to put this temple complex to Ra because we want him to be happy with us and not unhappy with us. And why don't we just connect? I mean, it seems a bit of a waste to just put it on this like little dinky island over here when it could be beneficial to other parts of the island, to other parts of the city, but there doesn't really seem to be space for it anywhere else. Tell me in the chat where you guys think I should put the Great Temple to Amun. It was interesting as well when I was reading about it. They were talking about the primordial hill that the first temple was put on. So I presume that's like, you know, probably a similar kind of site to like the Dome of the Rock or other places that gain religious significance. You know, there was one spot that they thought was the place where everything began, and clearly that was at it was established at some point that that was Heliopolis, which I think is quite interesting. Like also like what other like pilgrimage sites and stuff like that would people have gone to, or what other sites did there exist? I was also in one of the other streams I talked about bedbend stones, which are like the capstones used for pyramids, and they and I was reading about it, and I was talking about how at the Temple of Heliopolis and the Temple of Ra, there was like the original bedbend stone, which represented this primordial hill again, and it was the one that all the capstones were modeled after. But I mean, did I research this super intensively? No, but I would be really interested to know what happened to that original bedbend stone and what happened to the Temple of Amun-Ra or Aten-Ra, because did it just collapse? Did they take everything away from it and move it to other spots and then whatever? Yeah, I'd be really interested to know, or is that stuff like, you know, has it just disappeared to the sands of time or whatever? I'd be really interested to know what the current consensus is on that. Maybe I should ask Dietrich Rau if he wants to do an interview on for the channel. Would you guys find that interesting? Let me know. Who had the festival last? It was Raw, so we're gonna do a large festival for you. All right, let's see how I'm doing for my mission goals. 36, 59, and 8, 37, not bad. Culture, mortuary, prosperity. Yeah, I'm trying to improve my housing. You know, if you weren't so judgmental. Right, let's put, they're going to complain about housing. I'm going to put a road here, and then I'll do, again, pottery. I'm sure this will help with any unemployment that I'm currently grappling with. Oh, but I need the clay needs to go here, and then the potter. I'll just put a potter here. I only need one. Oh, the birds are in the way. We'll put a potter here, and then we'll do a nice little linky link there, and we'll get rid of this road, and we'll do some creative road blocking. Ta-da! And then I need a storage area for my pots and their pottery. And these guys will get pottery. Pottery for everyone! Okay. These guys are doing okay. These guys, 40 of these. Pharaoh needs a lot of limestone. Actually, let's do it is over 20 blocks. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine. These guys. Pottery. Oh, I know what's happening here. It's that the bazaar lady is going on the wrong track because the road is too close to the bazaar. There we go. Now my housing's gonna go up. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. Where Frankenstein talking about the delta where the river, land, and sea meet. That is a very, very good point. I'll have to look into it a little bit more and see if I can research anything more into it, because stuff is just like so fragmentary. You know, there's some stuff that's like pretty commonly known, but there's some stuff that people just like don't write about, and it's just like hidden in a textbook somewhere. This has never been covered in a documentary on the History Channel before. Wow, I have lots of linen now. I literally can't sell enough. Let's see if I can, Ionette. Oh, they don't buy anything, they only sell stuff. That's not useful for me for trade. Oh, but they sell granite. That's why. I'm gonna need to buy granite from them eventually. Oh. And I'm gonna need... Well, we'll just finish off my limestone. I'm gonna put a statue here. These are always my favorite statues. I like the ones with the woman. I don't know if she's supposed to be Isis or something, but or Isis. That's one thing I would really like to do if when I was doing, I think, a review of the Mummy movies, which are like my favorite Egypt movies of all time, like the Brendan Fraser ones. was looking up some stuff, and I saw that they actually had like a consultant Egyptologist work with them on recreating what the ancient Egyptian language would have sounded like in the film. And I really kind of want to reach out to the Egyptologist, because I think he still works, I think he still teaches, who was the consultant for that, and have a chat with him about it, because I think that would be a really interesting conversation, especially when you think about, like, are talking about where art clashes with historical choices, because that's something that obviously happens a lot in like film and stuff like that around these kinds of topics. Is people get really mad because the person who's making a piece of art makes a choice to prioritize what they think suits their artistic vision more than what actually happened, and that really bothers people. That used to be something that bothered me a lot in films. I wouldn't say that it bothers me nearly as much as it used to. But yeah. Okay. Nice. Work camp. Put in a work camp or two, because that always helps suck up employees. But I don't want to put it too close to my houses. So we'll just put that there. Oh, I've almost got 4,000 people. So I don't need to evolve my housing anymore. I don't think. Yeah, I think I'm good for prosperity. I'm over. Monument, I'm over. Culture, mortuary. So since this bit has all of my fabric, let's put a mortuary in here for everyone. And see, because I don't have any Senate houses. Oh well. And we'll do a nice big festival for Ra. And then I'll put the temple complex in. If there was snow in your pyramids, I would ski them high from Peshta to Wa. Would it? I don't know enough about skiing. That's hilarious, the idea of snow. I mean, I'm sure Egypt has gotten snow. I don't know how far south, but very interesting is I've actually been, when I went to Jordan, way back in the day. If you go to Wadi Rum, which is a big desert reserve, like in the south, it's famous for the fact that Lawrence of Arabia basically lived there part of his time and helped lead his campaigns with his Arabian colleagues to liberate Jordan from the Ottomans. Lived it from there. So I've quote unquote been to Lawrence's house, which is just basically a pile of blocks in Wadi Rum. I don't know if it actually was his house or not, but I think that's probably a bit more verifiable since he lived in the 1920s. So bit easier to establish probably if he did live there or not. But yeah, what was I talking about? Yes, snowboard. Anyway, in Wadi Rum, they take you to the sand dunes, usually when you're there, and you can go sandboarding. So they'll bring like a cheap snowboard, and you hike to like the top of a dune, and then you sandboard down it. It's not like snowboarding. Not that I really know, because I don't snowboard, but yes, I know I'm a very bad Canadian. But oh, you know what? Would this? No, that wouldn't fit there, would it? Yeah, so I'm a very bad Canadian, but I have sandboarded down the dunes of Wadi Rum, and you just kind of end up sinking into it eventually. It's not really it's not like packed like snow is, but it is pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool experience. All right, I'm just going to do this. I'll make a house for people here, and then we'll do a firehouse and an architect's post, police station, water supply. We will do our competition. This will also help, again, suck up any additional employees that we need. Oh, crap, actually. Roadblock. I'm gonna put the house here so that, there we go. Position. Have a bazaar. And we'll have the temples to Osiris and the temple to Bast leading up to it. Perfect. Very interestingly, one of the images I didn't include in the segment was one of like a reconstructed temple entrance at Heliopolis, because again, it was a reconstruction, it wasn't really a real thing. And I don't mind the reconstructions, I think they are kind of valuable sometimes to see, but yeah, I really would love to see like a reconstructed ancient Egyptian temple, which actually, if we'd played Dendera or Ionet today, we would have seen some examples of, because the temple, that site is famous for the Temple of Dendera, which is one of the like best preserved Egyptian temples that we have. So yeah. What am I doing? 6%. I just basically have to let this tick over until my mastabas are built, essentially. See? Ra is happy now because I've built him a giant god version of a Mojo Dojo Casa house by having a temple for him. Let's go. Since I have so much money, I'm just gonna go ham and decorate the crap out of this temple, since I don't really have much left to do. And then we'll do, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. 1, 2. This is like a real temple, guys. These are like processional sphinxes that if you went to Karnak and Luxor, you would walk through a road of ram sphinxes to the temple. I think it's at Luxor slash Karnak. It's like a processional way that goes between the two big temples. So yeah, there we go. There's my very fancy temple complex. We'll do an altar of Ma'at and then our Oracle of Horus. So Ma'at was the goddess of like justice and rightness. She was the one that has the really famous feather of Ma'at. It's which is what your heart got weighed against when you went to get judged at the end of your afterlife. When you made it through the netherworld, you got judged against her feather, and if you lived a good life, you passed, and if you had a bad life, if you were a bad person, you got eaten by a giant monster. And you couldn't go into the field of reeds, which is the Egyptian version of heaven. Oh, my cat's so cute. She's just above my desk right now, and she just looks so adorable. Aren't you just the cutest, huh? Aren't you just the cutest? She's so cute. She's been getting an advent calendar treat every morning. Yes, I am that person that got an advent calendar for my cat, and I'm not even ashamed of it. I got it from a pet store, and she gets a treat every morning. And my husband and I have advent calendars too. His is a Reese's Pieces one, and mine's like Kinder Egg. And she now knows the sound of the cardboard opening means that she's about to get a treat. So she comes like running every single time, and which is quite funny to watch, honestly. But even if it's us just opening ours, and she's just like, but it's my treat. It's time for my treat now, right? I've been good. Let's do another cool. Do I want this one? Do I want the Rams? I've already done that. All right, I'm gonna do the giant upstanding. I'm gonna do, I like this one because it looks like the king is coming to like give offerings to the gods, which is kind of what that is. So yeah, this is my giant temple complex for the gods. This house better, well, okay, there's no entertainment, that's fine. But yeah, how are we doing? Got 40 culture, not enough jugglers. Oh, a Senate house. Let's put, okay, I've got 1910 video. My video on my channel is premiering at 19:30, 7:30. So I'm gonna put a Senate house in my bit that's closest to these things. Oh, where am I gonna put it? I'm gonna have to get rid of some houses, aren't I? Yep. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of these houses because I have more than enough population. I'm gonna put my Senate house in, and then I'm gonna play the segment for you on Senate, which is the probably one of the most well-known or famous Egyptian board game, although they did have more than one. So I'm gonna mute my mic, and then we're going to play this last segment.
For our last segment today, we are talking about something which I feel like has a lot of connections to our modern day trend of board games, which is the game Senate. Senate is an Egyptian board game that consists of 10 or more pawns on a 30-square playing board. A game of both strategy and luck, it was played by two persons who maneuvered their draftsmen according to the throws from sticks and bones. The name derives from the ancient Egyptian Zenit, later Sinet, or Sinet, meaning passing, and it refers to the optimum movement of the draftsman across the game squares. The full name was the passing game. It symbolized the passing from life through the netherworld, known as the Juat, into the afterlife, with the game board representing a physical bridge connecting the space of the deceased to the space of the living. Through much of Egyptian history, the game had two uses. It was played recreationally for fun and enjoyment by two people, but also had a sacred and spiritual use, where it was performed probably by a single person for a religious purpose. The game probably started out as a recreational pastime and had a religious dimension added to it, and thereafter the two aspects coexisted side by side. We can see this evolution through the artistic and archaeological remains of the boards. Fragmentary boards that could be Senate sets have been found in First Dynasty burials. The earliest definite representation of Senate dates to 2620 BCE in the wall reliefs of the mastaba of Hesi-Ra, a 3rd Dynasty official who we've mentioned before. He's the world's earliest known dentist. In the reliefs, a Senate playset was included in his offering list of possessions accompanying him into death. In the 5th Dynasty, we see a change where the deceased was shown in these celebrations observing two living people playing the game. In the 6th Dynasty, the deceased himself was represented playing Senate against a living person, and eventually, according to scenes from the walls of mastabas at Giza, Saqqara, Abu Sir, and Mir, the Senate game was included among recreational activities conducted as a part of Hathoric rituals and celebrations during the Egyptian funeral and the festival of the goddess Hathor. In the New Kingdom, the game reflected the concept of the Ka passing through the Juat, represented in the game by the spaces connecting the individual to different stages of their lives. This connection is made in the Great Game text, which appears in a number of papyri, as well as the appearance of markings of religious significance on Senate boards themselves. Even though the game was consistently played through the history of Egypt, there appears to be very little variation in terms of its key components. This can be seen through studying the various Senate boards that have been found by archaeologists, as well as depictions of the Senate being played on tomb walls and papyrus scrolls. Thus far, more than 120 Senate game boards from Egypt and Western Asia are known to exist in museums and collections around the world. They occur in three main types: slab-style boards, which are thin and narrow slabs of stone, wood, or faience; graffito boards, which are roughly carved or etched on environmental surfaces or other objects, usually for ephemeral use; and box-type boards, hollow oblong boxes made of wood, stone, or faience, usually with a drawer for the playing pieces and casting implements. Often included with the boards were sets of wooden casting sticks or astrogoli, which are knuckle bones. The oldest intact Senate board we have found so far dates to the Middle Kingdom. The board was usually constructed out of wood, ivory, faience, or some combination of these materials, and with the layout of the 30 squares in 3 rows of 10. A complete game set would have contained a distinct set of pawns for each of the 2 players. Through most of the game's 2,000-year history, the Senate boards themselves would indicate the direction of play, usually from the top left corner indicated by decorations on the spaces, with the last 5 squares were often the most decorated on the board. The decorations on the last 5 squares were unique, usually having a mark related to goodness or an aquatic reference on them. Though some historians argue that Senate essentially disappeared after the Romans conquered Egypt, there are some examples of Senate graffiti on the roof of the Roman temple of Dendera, which dates to the Roman period, and which would be the most concrete evidence that the game was played or did exist to some extent during the Roman times. Nevertheless, its popularity waned and it eventually fell out of use. As a result, its original rules are the subject of much debate, and to this day, we haven't found the player's guide or instruction manual. So maybe that's something that we can still aspire to find in future.
Okay, that's the last of our segments for today, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed them. Let me know, did you find them interesting? Have you guys heard of Senate before I brought it up today? Let me know. And also, hi Mitch. I waved to you when I was doing the segment, but obviously I didn't, I couldn't say anything at that time. All right. Oh, I've got like one thing left here. All right. I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to put houses here, and I'm going to get rid of these ones here so I can build my mastabas all in the same place and I don't have to transport materials all over the place. And also, hopefully, I can get enough bricks to do something. Caught the wave, yeah, good. Oh no! What? Oh. Apparently, oh, that's why. Okay. Bricklayers Guild. Alright, we've got 13 minutes to finish this level, to finish this mastaba. So hopefully, let's see if the gods will help me out here. Give me a bit of a blessing. That would be very much appreciated. How are we doing for the rest? I've got just under my population, that's fine. Got that, got that. Monument, oh yeah. I need to dispatch that and then I can stop importing those. Do I? Okay, I'm exporting those. Yeah. This is the bricks take flippin' ages to make. I've got 4 things going and I'm only, like, it's just like moving at an absolutely glacial pace. It's not cool. Alright, Raw, we'll give you a lavish festival too. You guys can help me out with my monuments. You did that once before. Are you guys going to stick and watch the premiere of Archaeology News after this? Let me know. I'm doing, well, I didn't really want to premiere the video without having the live stream in front of it, which is why I decided to change both instead of, like, premiering the video and just moving the live stream. But it's also a bit of an experiment to see what it's like for numbers to premiere on a Sunday, because when I try and research these things, they say, well, they say that when a video premieres doesn't affect its, like, usually affect its overall performance, but then you also read things that say, oh, the best time to premiere videos is on a Sunday evening. So I'm interested to see if I'm going to have lots of people watching or nobody watching at all. And please, at least one person, come talk to me in the live chat for the premiere. I also made a trailer for Archaeology News this time, so I think like 600 people have watched it, but I have it, it's on the watch page. It's not like a video on the channel, it's on the watch page. It's like unlisted. And it didn't take me very long to make, and it was cool, but it's also not something that I want to spend time doing if it's not really going to have much of an impact on performance of the video, because I'm getting to the point with things where I have to kind of think about what I want to spend my time on, because right now preparing segments for the live streams is almost the same amount of work as doing a video, because I'm having to do research to prepare, and that's the thing that takes the longest, and then recording them doesn't take very long, but then I also have to edit them to do the little like video segments. So yeah, it's it just, why have I suddenly lost a huge amount of my population? Where did they all go? Why did I lose like 500 people? That's not cool. Probably because I took away all the beer because I was using it in the festivals. Oops. Okay, I only need 8 of those. So we'll take that down to 8. Oh, these people lost all their food. That's not cool. That was probably because I had like a famine year. Okay. Well, they're all gonna come back. It's fine. You know, these things come and go. Populations, sizes change. Who is messaging me? My phone. I've got lots of updates apparently. Okay. Alright, I don't need to import this anymore. Oh, I don't need wood anymore. Oops. Exporting. Importing to maintain 600. And we'll do 600. Okay. All that is done. All my burial goods are done. That's 84%. 14, 45, 30. Perfect. And so all I need to do is have people come back to my city. I think I'm actually going to be able to finish this, guys, like in time for the live stream. I'm on a flipping roll, although I would not be surprised if that does not happen for the Giza level, because that's just going to be insane in the membrane. Okay, mastabas, all 3 mastabas are finished. So I can stop importing straw, and I'm going to stop exporting beer, because I think that's, well, let's make it over 1,000, because I think that's what, well, these people need food. Right, let's just go ham with my food industry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One block here. Oh, and here. And then let's just put a work camp. Well, I don't have left myself any space for a work camp, but I'm sure that's fine. There'll be enough people for this. I guess I've not, oh, it's because I've been having bad floods. That's why my food is like all over the place. Just need a better flood. Come on, Osiris. Ooh, Bast hasn't had a festival for ages. Let's wait for the... Pharaoh does just so... This kind of greedy, like... Irrigation ditches. It also never learned until I played this game for as an adult that the irrigation ditches can help your farms. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'm going to... Well, I don't need money, so that's fine. Alright. Let's see if... do an irrigation ditch for you, and I'll do an irrigation ditch for you. Are you guys gonna come to my year-end stream? Let me know. I'm really hoping to try and get like a couple people to attend. I'm like, as far as I'm aware, the next level of the after this one is Rostjaw, which is Giza. So the next level will be building the Great Pyramid. I think that's kind of a nice way in that I didn't plan at all to like kind of tie off the year, is doing a nice long stream talking about the Great Pyramid of Giza and Rostjaw and like the worker villages and quarrying and all those kind of like interesting topics about ancient Egypt that people tend to overlook when they try to claim that things are built by aliens, which drives me absolutely nuts. I already do have a video on my channel that's all about the pyramid, but this is all, I'm going to co-opt probably a little bit of that, because thankfully for myself I've already done a lot of the research, but I'm going to try and add in some new stuff, because especially since I did that video, you have the all the stuff that's being done with the muon tomography, which is the people that are looking at, oh, I can't build those anymore. I can't build construction builds once I finish constructing my monuments. Interesting. But yeah, they're trying to basically, because they can't, like, here's the thing, in order to determine stuff in archaeology, it is a destructive process. So in order to determine things, we have to destroy them in the process. All archaeology is basically, well, field archaeology and excavating is a destructive process. You like can't get around that. But ooh, I'm getting all the people coming back in because I got food again. So if you can't just like but you can't take apart things like the Great Pyramid to learn things about it. So you have to come up with new ways of doing that. So what they're doing right now is, I think it's largely led by like a Japanese team, is they're essentially scanning the pyramids with some kind of space laser, this laser technology. And they look at, I think it's muons, it's something that like comes in from space and it like bounces off as objects or something. It's not my area of expertise. But they basically measure those and try to use them to see if they can detect like kind of the interior structure, because you also can't x-ray stone. So this is a kind of way to try and x-ray stone to see if there's any extra stuff. I need pottery. Oh, why am I exporting it? No. Oh, I just screwed myself, guys. There's no way I'm gonna get this back in like 2 minutes until the stream ends. Well, maybe. All my houses have just evolved again. Also, let's just go crazy. See, ever since I put in my the temple complex to raw, he's been super happy with me. Let's do this one. Come on. Just watching this, like, population counter just go up. Alright, we're in 3,900. So, I'm going to save so that next stream we can come back to this point and then get to the next level. And then let's... Dun, 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 dun. I did it! 1 minute left to go. Go me. Go me. Yay.
Splendid! The mines you established at Tura have furnished all the limestone that Khufu has required so far.
All right, so Ross Jaw, here's our preview. Next week, there's a lot of blank nothing because we got to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Sorry, next week, in a few weeks' time. So, yes, that is the end of the stream for today, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along and sticking with me if you've been here from even just 2 minutes ago. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to end the stream now because my video is premiering, and if you're on the stream, you're going to get redirected to the premiere. If you don't want to watch the premiere, that's fine. If you could give me a like before you go, that would be appreciated. And a subscriber, like, all those things are helpful. But if you have a few minutes to even watch the first 30 seconds of the premiere, again, that really helps me out. So thanks everyone, and I will see you in a few weeks' time at my end of year stream when we're going to build the Great Pyramid of Giza.